What's up guys, Titus here from Time Props in the web series where I show you how to make epic cosplay creations. In this episode, I'm going to demonstrate how to make a wicked cosplay sword and a technique on how to make it look real. While prop hunting on the information superhighway, I came across the cold steel practice swords. The biggest advantage of these swords versus the wooden ones is they're made out of a high density polypropylene, which for the casual cosplayer, it's made out of the same material as your kitchen cutting board. This makes them very durable, yet gives them a realistic weight, easy to paint, and are con safe. They make the perfect weapon prop for your Game of Thrones, Soul Calibur, or anime cosplays as they come in a variety of different swords, including rapiers, long swords, and katanas. The painting process is a technique using spray paints and weathering with craft paint. It creates a durable yet realistic look that doesn't break the bank. For a more realistic look, you can also use a rotary tool and a palm sander to add scratches and chips into the blade. And I'll be walking you through all these steps, so let's get started with what you need. A silver marker, a palm sander with assorted low to high grit sandpapers, a rotary tool, assorted spray paints, and a cold steel practice sword. So here's the list. For sandpapers, make sure you get a low and a high grit paper. Choose a couple of complementing spray paint colors for the hilt and grip. If you want to keep it more realistic, use metallic bronze or silver. I chose the 1.5-hand practice sword from Cold Steel. And be sure to shop around because you can get some great deals on them. Tool-wise, I included a pair of scissors to cut up the masking paper, and also a hobby knife to trim the painter's tape. In the tutorial, you'll see me using a mouse sander and a palm sander. You really only need one, but because I couldn't be bothered to switch out the papers, I ended up using them both. So let's get started. Oh, and don't forget your eye pro. Lord Gorlock would not be pleased. Start by taking apart the sword. Remove the rubber ring and slide off the hilt. Then using the silver marker, mark off where you want the chips in the blade to be. Mark randomly, but along the edge of the blade. Use the rotary tool and a high grit sanding drum to lightly remove material from the sword. You'll get the smoothest chips by going against the rotation of the bit. This will fling the material away from you and keep it from creating burrs and making it look jagged. Once you've finished with the rotary tool, go back with a medium grit sandpaper and remove all the burrs the rotary tool may have left. Continue to do a higher grit sandpapers till the sword is smooth again. After trying about 5 different spray paints, I found that the Rust-Oleum Universal Spray Paint stuck the best to these swords, and held up really well even when striking them against each other. Put a nice even coat on one side of the sword. One strike, continue to the other side. If you see these burrs along your sword after you've painted it, use your sander and a high grit paper to smooth them out. Once all the burrs are gone and you have a base coat of the Universal Spray Paint, put on an even coat of the metallic silver spray paint. Once it's dried, tape off any of the pieces you don't want to paint with your detailing colors. Use a hobby knife to trim the painter's tape and peel off the excess. Then simply apply a solid layer to the hilt. I found 2 coats work best. I chose brown for the grip and red for the pommel, but you can choose anything you want. Once this was dry, I continued on to the pommel. Next, using a mix of acrylic craft paints, create several colors to weather the sword with. Apply gray and black for the chips and detailing. Once that's dried, make a portion of black and brown and paint it over the entire sword. Using a paper towel, wipe off all the excess paint. The longer you leave the paint on before using the paper towel, the more weathered it'll look. After weathering, apply a thin layer of either gloss or matte clear coat to protect the paint. The matte will give it a worn, non-shiny look, and the gloss will make it look shiny and sharp. Using a mix of paint colors, you can create some pretty cool swords. Here are a couple different practice swords, all using the same technique, but with different paint schemes. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to forward them down to the Facebook page linked down below. Help support the show by hitting the like and subscribe button, and comment down below on what tutorials you'd like to see. Want more tutorials and con coverage? Head over to toweringprops.com for photo albums and written tutorials. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you at the cons. Paper and a hobby knife and a painter's tape. Otherwise, I included a pair of scissors to cut up the masking paper from a practice sword and a technique on how to